It's officially official. Welcome everybody to our Indy home interviews um, webinar tonight. My name is Jessica Morrison, Realtor with Ferris Property Group. I have two special ladies here with me from Land Development and Building, representing the Inglenook Cottage Home Community in downtown Zionsville. If you have ever dreamt of building a cottage home, living in one, or just staying in one, like in the movie The Holiday, I promise you these homes are absolutely adorable. And we are going to dive deep into what makes this community special and a great little gem for downtown Zionsville. So Megan, Kristen, thank you for being here tonight. Please tell us more about what your community has to offer.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having us. We are so excited to talk to you guys about Inglenook of Zionsville. It's our second pocket neighborhood. It's the second pocket neighborhood in the entire Midwest. So our first pocket neighborhood was actually in Inglenook of Carmel, and this is our second one. So we will dive right in and take you guys through.
Boom.
Okay, so again, feel free to ask any questions along the way. But our builder is Land Development and Building, and we build pocket neighborhoods and cottage homes. So we will talk about pocket neighborhoods. We'll talk about what makes a cottage home and what makes our designs, neighborhood designs, unique and different. And then specifically about Inglenook of Zionsville, which is our current pocket neighborhood under development. So really what makes us different, and when you drive through most suburban developments, what you'll see is kind of garage door, garage door, garage door, an endless sea of streets with the same houses all the way down, each kind of an island to itself or a castle to itself, with little connection between neighbors. And what we really believe in is we flip the script, and we believe in the power of community. So our homes and our neighborhood design is really designed for people, not cars. So you'll see that as we talk through our neighborhood design, but also as we talk through our homes. And really that power of community is what brings people to our homes. So we build pocket neighborhoods. So what is a pocket neighborhood? That's a new term specifically really for the Midwest. It started over on the West Coast, a little bit on the East Coast, but it has sprung up in the Midwest as being something that really, if you think about it, really just a pocket is a term, pocket neighborhood is a term that Ross Chapin, our architect, coined. And it's really to think about like a pocket in your shirt. So you tuck things away in your pocket to keep safe. And this really is a community that's tucked away. So it's really, as we talk about it, it's intimate and connected. It's a dynamic community with green spaces at the center. So instead of driving down a street and seeing garage, 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 what you're greeted with is beautiful, lush gardens, pedestrian-friendly passageways. Really, it's designed, the homes all face one another around a green courtyard or around woods. So instead of, again, garages, you've got front porch living and big cottage homes. So if we think about what the design is different, again, we talk about community being at the heart of our design. That means that garages are at the back. So again, garages are at the back, and where you're entering is into kind of the beltway, or the green belt as we like to call it. It's big front porches and garden space. It's the common greens or the common woods as we have it in Zionsville. And it's these implied gates along the way. So which really separates the private space from the public space. So as soon as you step into, what we would call a pocket, which is, 4 or 6 or even 8 homes that sit on a pocket, there's several different small little architectural details that you probably wouldn't notice unless you were walking up onto them, but there's implied gates along the way. So whether it's the walkways, and then that's, one gate, and then the gardens, and then there's small little fences that then lead to the porch fronts, and all these little tiny thoughtful details that bring forward the community aspect. And something that's always been great about this neighborhood design is that it's all eyes on the commons. So what we mean by that is that everybody knows everybody. You know your neighbor's dog, you know your neighbor's kids, and it really is a community that looks out for one another. So at Inglenook of Zionsville, we have 7, actually now we've moved to 8 different cottage homes designs, and there's 48 different home sites. So we are building on 9 of 17 acres. The remaining acreage is currently planned for woodlands, which is great. We're excited about that. And we have 2, 3, and 4 bedroom homes. So it really covers the gamut from a size perspective as well. So when you think of a cottage home, the kind of key things that you want to think about when you're walking through one is obviously front porch living. That's what makes it great. And the front porches, as we talk about it, these are room-sized porches. So think porch swings, think, picnic tables. They're really an extension of your home. They're the welcome mat too to the neighborhood as well, and the connection to your neighbors. Also thoughtful space-saving design. So something that our architect Ross Chapin is really big on, and what we really love is that we're not building homes with wasted space. So we're really truly using every piece of your home, and we're building out nooks and crannies and putting built-ins in there, and it's really just like very thoughtful space-saving design. So there's no wasted space. Numerous oversized windows. That's the other thing. If you look in this last picture over on the right, is really there are lots of windows, but not only are there numerous windows, but they're huge. So I'm 5'6", and these measure beyond me, as my husband says, but there are numerous windows. So all the natural light is really pouring in, which is another great thing about cottage living. And the comfort and character throughout. And I think that the homes represent, we have 8 different home designs. The homes themselves really represent the homeowners. And that's something that's really important to us, because a home should be a reflection of you and how you live. So every home is unique. So this is the Inglenook of Zionsville neighborhood plan. And outlined in red and outlined in orange are phase 1 and phase 2. The home sites that are noted in red and yellow have been sold or reserved. There are a few home sites that are blue and currently available, and the white are available as well. So the blues, just to note that we, again, we're a small builder, so we are working, from edge to edge of the neighborhood, and we're trying not to skip a home site. So we have, for example, on 26, we went ahead and dug a basement for a home design, just so we are, minimal disturbance to the homeowners who have bought around there and who are building there. Just trying to be conscientious of those. So we're over 70% sold in phase 1 and phase 2, which is exciting. And we only have 11 home sites left. So exciting times there. Phase 3 is going to be great. It's a great big green space in the middle of the heart of the neighborhood. So we're excited to release that hopefully in the coming months.
So quick question, Megan. I think in driving through that community, you definitely get that close-knit feel. Can you tell me a little bit again, just for those who might be tuning in for the first time or haven't heard of your product, is the goal of the community to facilitate lifestyle and conversations with your neighbors versus, I think sometimes in production housing, and I've totally been guilty of this, where some neighbors probably think that I'm Batman, because when I get home, I drive right in and put the door down. I don't want to talk to people. I've been out all day. Would you say that that's not necessarily the type of, not that you're excluding people, but it sounds like from what you said 5 minutes ago, this community is really set up to facilitate neighbor interactions, and I'll just leave it open-ended.
No, absolutely. Jessica, you nailed it. It really is about facilitating everyday interactions with your neighbors, and really making sure that, whether it's walking a dog or whether you're having a cup of tea on the front porch, that you interact with your neighbors on a daily basis. So it becomes meaningful relationships. And I would say when you think about who comes, Inglenook isn't for everyone. It really is. When you think about who has come to call Inglenook home, it's really people who are like-minded, and the fact that they are looking for a community. They're looking for people to build a community with. They want to be a good neighbor for those people. I think one of our homeowners put it best, but their favorite room is the front porch, where they connect to each other and where they see their neighbors whom they adore. It's a wonderful space to see those relationships grow.
So as far as having relationships, like if somebody wanted to have friends over, is there a dedicated, I'm not And I apologize.
Yes, nope, there's dedicated parking. So can you see my mouse? I'm not sure if you can see my mouse when you share. Okay, so you can see my mouse. So the garages are obviously towards the back, whereas this is a pocket and this is a pocket of homes, and the front porches are here at the front. Garages are to the back. Right along here are all of the parking for friends and guests. And what's really fun is at our first pocket neighborhood, Inglenook of Carmel, is they had chili potlucks, and they had card nights, and they had bingo nights, and just different things that we literally had one of our homeowners roasting chestnuts over an open fire. I mean, it is one of those things that is so special and so unique. It's the neighborhood design facilitates it, but it's the neighbors that really bring the magic.
So in looking at your designs for the little pockets, one thing that kind of stood out to me was, and I don't know if this is just an architectural drawing or if this is part of the building process, do you guys install all of the exterior landscaping? I know that's kind of low on the totem pole, but you're building, it's a big deal.
Right. So there are architectural probably details in here. I'm not sure that all these plants have been planted. For example, I think this is a little bit of a rendering here, but what you'll see, so there are obviously trees, and we tried to keep as much as we could. Again, this is going to be built on 9 of 17 acres. To the south, right down here, is actually woodlands. So there's been conversation along with these homeowners who overlook the woodlands and with the HOA of the existing homeowners of, wouldn't it be great if we built a tree house, or could we do trails through there? I mean, it really is some great things to think about and fodder. And really, when we initially did this rendering, we put, could there be, we have a little free library up here at the front by the mailboxes, which we love. But there could be other instances like that, whether it be a community garden or whether it be, a little fire pit, which is what some neighbors did in our Carmel, homeowners did in our Carmel neighborhood. They had one that was in between the two homes, two of the home sites. So it really is, we're waiting really for our HOA to really take the creative lead on that, because I think it'll really be up to what the homeowners want that we could add in there, which is exciting and fun.
So speaking of HOAs, is that something that will be governed by the local residents, or is that by an outside party?
So we have members of the HOA, and Kristen, jump in if I'm wrong as sales lead. Members of the HOA will be homeowners, of course, and then we'll have a third party as well that will facilitate it.
Okay, good to know.
And the HOA will cover all snow removal, which is always exciting, and also all mowing, which is nice. And it's $125
per month.
Yes.
Okay. And when you say sorry, this is going to be like a nitpicky question. But
no, please.
It's funny how like snow removal can mean different things in different neighborhoods. So are we talking, especially for a community of this size where the homes are going to be closer together, does snow removal mean just the pavement, or does that include sidewalks and driveways?
Sidewalks as well. Sidewalks, driveways. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is a walkable, connected community.
Wow.
Got to keep it that way in the winter.
Yeah, for sure. Kristen, do you want to add anything before we move on?
Yeah, I'd like to just introduce myself. I'm the Inglenook sales rep, Kristen Cambridge. So if you're ever out visiting us on site, I'll likely be the one walking you around. Just wanted to say hey and introduce myself. Megan, if you want to go to the next slide, I'm happy to talk about what is on there. Yeah.
Great.
Here are our different floor plans. The Betty, the Ellis, the Hunter, the Iris, the Madison, the Plumrose, and the Spruce. We have added a Betty Rose recently, which is a larger version of the Betty, which is exciting. We have one of those going up right now. The Spruce is the largest of the homes, and we have quite a few of those out here. A lot of those homeowners are along the woods, and they have the huge front porch that looks into that woodland area that Megan referenced. But each home has great different characteristics, and I know them like the back of my hand. So if you have any questions about them, I'm happy to let you know.
Do you have a favorite floor plan?
Oh, good question. I think that varies sometimes, but my current favorite is the Hunter. We have modified those floor plans from the original architect's floor plans a little bit, and it has the most open feel in the living and kitchen area to me. And we have some homeowners who are really smart sizing, as Megan says. And so I feel like that gives them a little more of an open concept than some of the other cottage homes.
That makes
I have
sense.
to vote for the Betty.
Oh,
It is one of my favorites. I think it's just adorable. I think now there's so many versions of it, which is great, and everyone really puts their unique spin on it. But whether it's a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom Betty, I think, well, it may be smaller in square footage, it is mighty in character and size when you get in it. And it feels so spacious and open with all those windows. And I find it so charming. And I think what's really fun too is seeing the homeowners. So there's only one purple house in the neighborhood. Each home is unique. So there's literally, when you drive into a neighborhood, instead of saying, well, you take a right and then a left and then a left and then a right, and we're in Foxhole or whatever, and there's so many different courts and things like that. This is literally, I'm the red house. There's one red house, which is great. So I think my favorite always changes because I always fall in love with what the next homeowner does.
So you guys are a custom home builder. Can we talk a little bit about the process of selecting a house and what is that? How does your process as a builder compare to that of a production home? What really sets you apart in the building process?
I personally, having clients who have built outside of Inglenook and having clients who have built production, I just feel like the Inglenook process is so custom. And that's what I love. You're not given 3 tiles to pick from. Casey has built walls around people's furniture to make sure that they fit. So I think that's really what sets Inglenook apart, is the customization that they allow and that they're so flexible with that. And then also just the limitless options. No one's going to come in. We do 3 separate meetings for design. We do flooring, we do a kitchen cabinet meeting, and we do a countertop meeting. And each of those meetings, I am constantly amazed at the variation that our clients are able to choose from. It's not like a production builder where you walk in, like I said, there's just a few options. It's an entire showroom, and they can just pick anything that they want, pretty much within reason or within what we have included in the base price. Or if they'd like to go over the base price a little bit, then they're welcome to do that. So.
Yeah, it's always fun. I think when you can go to the granite yard and pick out your granite, or the tile shop and look at backsplash. I mean, there's a whole different level. And sometimes, to be fair, it's overwhelming. And sometimes having the condensed, pick one of the 3 options is sometimes nicer. But
Yeah.
Do you also see a difference in, I'm assuming the answer is yes, but I would imagine, especially for the price point that we're talking about here, that you're going to see a difference in quality, or what are things that you look for in a custom home build as far as product selections and going about selecting tile, maybe selecting certain subcontractors to fill that type of product? What are things that you look for that, someone who was not familiar with what compared to a different type of process would see, like as far as like night and day difference, whether it be tile or flooring or something else?
I would start with the difference I see between our homes and other homes by more production builders are just the solidness of the home. We had a homeowner recently who signed who had built another home with another builder, and they said when they shut the front door, their house shook. And that is not going to happen at Inglenook. These are some solid homes. The framing is, the exterior walls are built on 2x6s instead of 2x4s. They're very well insulated. Casey, our builder, will I think one of the funniest things he does is brag about how low your heating bill will be here because he has insulated this home so well. But yeah, I think just the quality and the level of material that people are able to choose from is a huge difference. And you mentioned the price point, but you get what you pay for. And everything that people choose here, even within the base price, is a very above builder grade quality. It's more custom. So
Yeah, and I would just add to that too. I think the quality extends to the design themselves. A lot of production builders and a lot of builders in general don't actually work with an architect, which would be surprising to some. But when you're looking for a home builder, having that architectural or architecture attached to it, I think is really important. Russ Chapin has really thought through, as with Casey, through these different plans, these 7 plans that we're offering, or 8 plans that we're offering, and thoughtfully planned out each and every space, so that not only are you talking about 2x6s instead of 2x4s, but you're also talking about a separation of private spaces versus public spaces. So all the public spaces are obviously going to be on the front of your home, overlooking the green spaces and the public spaces that you share with your neighbors. And your private spaces, such as your bathrooms and your bedrooms and your office, are going to be in the back of your home or in obviously the second floor. Really offering you that privacy. The other thing about, that's obviously architectural detail in the homes, but another detail in how the neighborhood is planned from a quality perspective is how the homes are put together. So in some places you'll see you're literally waving into a window of a neighbor. Here, the homes have been thoughtfully laid out so that they are nested together. So one side of the home we refer to as the open side and has tons of big windows throughout. And then the other side of the home would be the nested side or the closed side, which would then meet up with, well, not meet up, but would then be facing your neighbor's home that has their open side. So they're really thoughtfully nested together, so that not only the quality of the homes and the product that you're getting is great, but then the architectural design of your home and the neighborhood has been really thoughtfully planned as well.
That makes sense. Sounds exciting. Do we have other slides or photos you guys?
Yeah, so just wanted to share some of our quick move-in homes. Kristen, if you want to go through those.
Yeah, absolutely. So on home site number 1, we have a spruce that we could have finished in about 5 months from when the contract is signed. One thing that's going to be unique about that home is we have planned our first wraparound porch in the neighborhood. And it is our largest floor plan. It's right up at the front of the neighborhood. And I love that whoever gets it is going to be like neighborhood greeter, saying hi to everybody who's going to get their mail or coming in from a walk. So I love that home. The second is a Madison on home site 26. I'm actually standing in a Madison right now. It's super cute. It's under construction, but the Madison is a fan favorite here. And the one on 26 has a great view into our wooded lots without paying the lot premium that's associated with our normal wooded lot. So I think that's a perk of that one for sure. And then the last one is on home site number 29. It's an Ellis. My favorite part about the Ellis is that it has what we like to call the party deck. On the second floor, one of the bedrooms can have a great little balcony that bumps off of it. And people have been really excited about that option, especially if they have a home office up there that they could just step outside for a second. So that's what we have available.
That's actually a great question. I was planning to ask it, so it's a good time to bring it up. Because of COVID and just I think a trend in general prior to COVID, there were a number of people that were starting to transition into more jobs that were work from home. And how do you see your community, especially with these being smaller footprint homes? Do you feel like you're still going to be able to meet the market need with more people requiring spaces or being able to have space for kids to do their schoolwork, but also for parents or individuals to still be able to go into a private space and conduct work without feeling like they're on top of everybody? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I still feel like our homes, especially our homes that have a basement, which we've yet to have a homeowner build a house without a basement. There are options down in the basement to have an office down there. We've had some homeowners get really creative. Some of our closets are really large upstairs, and I've had a homeowner even create a office out of one of the really large closets upstairs. So I feel like we have great nooks in these homes that a pocket door can be pulled, and it's just a great use of space. It's not a ginormous home office that honestly you just get dirty, if we're going to be honest. And then another thing I'll say is this community in Zionsville is also extremely walkable. And I'll put a little plug in for Z-Works in the village of Zionsville. So if you're interested in a co-working space, it's super walkable to the village of Zionsville, and it would be a great place to even just like pack up your bag, take a little walk into the village, and walk home at night, which I think is ideal.
Love that. That's so smart. So good. Megan, any thoughts?
No, I mean, I would just add again, like customization is something that we talk about a lot, and how we want to build these homes to be reflective of how our homeowners live everyday life. So if everyday life now includes home offices, and for most of us also homeschools, I think that's something that we can obviously adjust customizations and things like that. I do think Kristen brought up the basements, and those really have been, as we look to past homeowners, people put yoga studios in the basements. They've put actually a soundproof band practice area in the basement. There's, with 9-foot ceilings and large egress windows, you don't really feel like you're in the basement. So that really is ample space right there as well. And we've even talked with other homeowners about, could we add an office space, above a garage, things like that. I mean, what's great is we can talk through those ideas about customization and see how we can push or pull here or there to make things work for how people are living.
Awesome.
And just the last thing, I think this was from one of our homeowners, and I just feel like this really encompasses our neighborhood, is really Inglenook is a tight-knit community, helping hands, shared resources, the watchful eye out for you and on you, a shared cup of coffee or a glass of wine. If you're out on your front porch, you can count on sharing a moment with whomever's out. And I think that really is what Inglenook really is about.
I think there was a study done recently that shared the elderly or empty nesters are thought to be some of the most lonely people, and actually millennials are even more likely to experience forms of depression. And so millennials aren't necessarily, I mean, your community is going to appeal to whomever it appeals to in the wider demographic, and we can't talk about that for equal housing, but I just think that that's a really cool testimony, because there are a lot of people hungering for community. And so that's exciting to see, especially in a small downtown neighborhood. Or I don't know if I can say that Zionsville's small, but you get what I mean. A small feel.
Growing.
Yeah.
It is small feel, and I think that's what makes it so special.
All right. So we've talked about floor plans. What's next?
Really, it's just, if anyone has any questions, we'd love to invite people out for a tour around the neighborhood. We have some great homes that are currently under construction that would be great to walk through, different home designs. We have a Madison to walk through, but only for a little bit longer. Also a spruce and a Betty under construction, and an iris as well. And it's, exciting times in Zionsville. I think is a wonderful spot for us, and just really fits so well with Inglenook's sense of community. So we're excited. Again, thank you for having us, Jessica. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out or stop by.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are a unique product in the marketplace. Let me see over here on Facebook if anybody's got some questions. It's like walking and trying to chew gum at the same time. Nope, I think we're good there. Let me ask you this, as far as process goes. So let's say I came in loved one of your homes, let's say it was the spruce, and I wanted to put, I'm going to make it a custom experience. So can you talk about how much it costs to put a down payment or earnest money on the property, and then to get the contract moving? And then what is the typical time frame that a consumer can anticipate that from developing the ground to closing for that process to take?
I can take this one, Megan, if that works.
All right.
So our process, if you like a home out here and you want to reserve it, is a lot reservation form, which is just a quick one-pager, and a $5,000 earnest money check. That is non-refundable because at that point, when you've reserved your lot, we go ahead and start getting our architects going, and we start some permitting and things like that. After that, you can expect to be under contract with us within 30 to 45 days after that. We like to break ground as soon as either you can do a construction loan, which is kind of part of the process, or any other type of funding. We could talk about the different options. And then after that, from when you've signed your contract, we're looking at about 6 to 8 months for your home to be completed. Obviously, some of those ones that we talked about that are under construction would be a little faster. The ones that have their basement poured or we have the framing up right now, those are going to be a little quicker. And then once we get you under contract, you're going to go with me and pick out your flooring, your carpet, your tile. And then we do a kitchen cabinet meeting where you place everything from your pull-out trash to your silverware drawer. It's a really custom product there. And then we go and we pick out your countertops after that. So it's really fun. And you mentioned sometimes options are overwhelming for folks, and that's why I like to go. I feel like I have a pretty good eye, and I like to help people do that. So I like to help realize someone's vision and then help them pull it all together. So that's a lot of the reason why I go with everyone to their appointments for that.
And just to clarify, it sounded like there were 4 or 5 different design appointments that a buyer can anticipate, or did I miss some?
There are 3.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yep.
And then what is your typical cost to add a basement, and the price between finishing versus non-finished or unfinished? My goodness.
Yeah, you're good. So our basement costs vary by floor plan. So some of them, just because of their size, are going to be a little more than another floor plan. But it varies from around 28,000 to about 35,000, depending on the floor plan, to add an unfinished basement. And then if you'd like to finish a family room in the basement, that's 17,500. And that includes your carpet, your drywall, and 12 can lights, and then all the electrical associated with it as well. We've had people starting to put luxury vinyl plank in the basement, which is really fun too. But as far as that goes, we also have options for adding bathrooms or a bathroom rough-in or a bedroom down there as well. All kinds of options, which are in our pricing sheet, and I'd be happy to share it with anyone who's interested.
I love all the details. So I'm sure anybody looking at this community, I think it's never a bad thing to explore all of the numbers and look at what your options are. And that's really the purpose of why I've been doing this series of interviews, is we are facing such an inventory shortage. And I think a lot of people are just struggling with time and trying to understand what their options are, addressing different pain points on the day-to-day basis. And that's really a big reason why people choose to move. Is obviously we move from pain to pleasure, but there's specific reasons, generally speaking, that revolve around pain, whether it's a lack of space or, wanting a yard for the dog and not having that, or something of that nature. So that's the goal with this series, is to help people know what their options are, especially when it comes to financing. So one of the most common questions I get, and Kristen, this is probably a question for you, is A lot of people get concerned when they start talking about building a custom home, which I don't think will be a concern for your community because you've already got the lot. But can you talk a little bit about, let's say I have a house to sell and I want to get under contract with you, but my house has not sold yet and it's not even on the market. What does your process with financing look like? And do you have a preferred lender?
So we have had that situation come up here and there. Obviously, we want to start on the home as soon as we can, but we have tried to work with people who have an interest on a lot, where they have kind of put down a first right on a lot while they're trying to sell their home. We do ask that their home is marketed and on the MLS so that we can see that they're making an effort towards moving this way. We do have a preferred lender, and that is Ray Berger at First Internet Bank. We've worked with other lenders as well, but Ray just really knows our process, and he's able to get the draws needed to build quicker than most other lenders are able to. So we really appreciate that he keeps the process moving, and he's just excellent at explaining the construction loan process to our clients.
And would you be able to summarize that construction loan process for those who aren't familiar?
Yeah, I can give a brief synopsis. You know, I always like to say I am a sales rep and I'm not in your finances, so I'll give a brief, but talk to a lender because they know what they're talking about. So typically right now, a construction loan requires 5% down, and that is at closing of your lot. Here at Inglenook, your lot is $145,000 worth of your build, however you build from there. So you start paying your mortgage on your loan when you close on your lot. So after there's a secondary draw after lot to dig the basement, say that bumps up to $200,000, then you're paying your mortgage on that $200,000 amount, or $200,000 amount, sorry. So you're paying your mortgage continually while your home is being built. And that's where it's kind of different from a production builder as well.
That makes sense. So to just assume, or not assume, but just to reverberate what you just said, and hopefully I heard you correctly, is that if someone were to take out or to purchase a lot and move forward towards building a home in your community, they would have to financially plan to be paying on a mortgage that is at first on the lot, and then as you move through the building phases, that mortgage will increase. Is that correct?
Correct. And it's a one-time close. So at the very end, when you get your certificate of occupancy, you are then paying your full mortgage amount, and hence going forward 15 or 30 years. So.
Okay. And then to clarify for those, again, who are not familiar, the buyer will need to plan to be paying on a mortgage prior to closing.
Correct.
Okay.
You do close on your lot a lot earlier, obviously, than when the home is finished, but that's your only time you're in a closing room. Gotcha. You have that one close, and then you just get your certificate of occupancy, and you're in your home after that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for the synopsis.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any thoughts, Megan? I think you're on mute. Maybe.
I'm good.
All right, let's check in for questions. Okay, so let me ask you this. What is your one piece of advice for maybe a client or a family who walks through, they've never built a custom home before? What should they look for in a custom home builder?
Kristen, you want to take it or do you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. So I won't answer it from a sales rep perspective, but I'll just answer it from what I think a homeowner is thinking of. I think when you go to a builder, one, I think it's important that you meet the builder. I think oftentimes in big production builders, you may see the builder once or twice. I think it's really important to know who you're building with and to have a relationship with that builder. And I think that's something that, as a small business and as a small team, that's really something that we do quite well, and something that I think Casey, our builder, is always accessible, whether it's you see him walking around the site or whether you stop by the construction cottage, as we call it, to visit. He's always there for an answer and for a chat, which is great. And I think that's a really important thing, is to make sure that you have a trust. Not only are you looking at the product, but you're also looking at the people who are building it, and making sure that you really, because when you build with Inglenook, you become a part of the Inglenook family. So just making sure that you have trust in not only the builder, but also in the quality of product. Kristen, did I cover it?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. So how do you handle communication with building? Because when a client is building a production house, there's a weekly check-in. Some do photos on a consistent basis. Sometimes it's just a phone call. What does your process of communication throughout the build look like?
We do weekly check-ins. Most of them are by email, but a lot of our homeowners are local to the area, and they also stop in, and they just stop in and talk with Casey. Casey also invites the homeowners to come and sit in his office and talk through details too. We don't necessarily do video or photos, just because a lot of our homeowners, they're here seeing it with their own eyes. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've actually heard of some builders getting frustrated with people stopping by too often or checking in. Is that something that you guys maybe request people come after contractors are done for safety purposes, or are clients welcome to stop by while people are working? What's your thought on that?
I was in a home the other day that had 8 contractors, and I had 2 potential clients in there, and our contractors are so awesome. They're just like bringing in the trim around this couple. So while that's not ideal, sometimes we just, all need to be there to see the product, and that's the time these people had. So we are pretty flexible. We don't want to hinder any construction timelines. So obviously, if they're hindering timelines, then we would have a little chat about that, but we haven't had any problems with that. It's been good.
Okay. One other question before I kind of wrap up. I was hoping to keep this to about an hour, but it's totally okay if we end early to end it on a high note. But assuming that someone is going to be interviewing different builders to understand the different values and what they get for their hard-earned dollars, in your experience, what is something that someone should avoid when selecting a builder, or what should they look for red flags when comparing different builders?
Megan, are you with us? Do you want
to?
Oh,
yes, I am.
Okay. You don't have to. I can.
You want to go for it, or I can do it? Either or. You go ahead.
I'm trying to think. I don't want to dog anyone. Red flags. I think what you get here that Megan's hit on is just a really great relationship with your builder. And I don't see larger builders really looking out for the best interests of their clients all the time. So a red flag to me is just a sales rep who wants you to sign just because they're trying to hit their monthly quota, because they're getting pressure from their boss, and they're not really maybe spending the time to go through all the details with you. And we really try to do that here. So.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we find, the home design that fits your everyday life and fits how you live, and then talk through, how you really feel about the space and feel about the home site. I mean, I think it really is important for someone when they're selecting a builder to feel comfortable having those tough conversations, and you want a builder to say, I don't really think you need that extra XYZ. I think it really is making sure that, sometimes when we go through home plans and you're looking at one and another, we may steer you towards the one that is, more price effective, because I think we're concerned about you and not necessarily, the greatest sale. It's really important for us to have the homeowners happy and having the home design reflect them.
Excellent. Now, speaking of sale, some builders do design promotions or a selections credit. Does your community do anything like that? And I mean, what's your thought around that kind of question?
Yeah, so we do not run any promotions per se. We like to say that our homes are for sale, not on sale. And I think, we believe in our product and the quality of our product. And it's not something that, for the sake of our other homeowners who have already, purchased homes, that's not something we dilute for them either. We really believe in our product. And there's obviously, when you go through the selection process, there is lighting allowances and things like that you go through. But as far as freebies go, that's not really something that we do.
Yep. Again, going back to you get what you pay for.
That's right.
So that discussion around quality, can you talk a little bit about your builder or building warranty and how, let's say a client moves in and they buy a spec house and maybe they didn't pick out some of these selections. What does your warranty look like at 1 or 2 years, or is it a typical 5 and 10 year warranty, or is it a little bit different for you guys as a builder? What is that?
Kristen, you want to take that one?
Man, I knew you were going to do that. No, I'm just kidding. It is the typical 5 to 10, 5 on 10 on structural. And then what we have a 1 year bumper to bumper is what Casey calls it. So we have a great partner here at Inglenook. So we have clients live in their house a little bit, and then they call our partner, Mike, who is our punch list guy. So he's like constantly in the homes if there's ever anything, and we just call him and say, hey, Mike, lot 3 has this little issue they need fixed, and he's on it. So it's really a nice service that we can offer, and everybody knows Mike. It's not like you're getting passed off to the third sales rep or the drywall guy or whatnot. We just really keep that in-house, and the process is really nice.
Very neat. I wanted to ask this question, and typically when you're working with a production builder, if you take something off, you don't necessarily get reimbursed or a credit for that item, versus if you were to, I'm trying to figure out how to quite ask this question, but let's say a client chooses to opt for a less expensive item in building, or deletes something in the build that would theoretically save them money. Do they get a credit for things that they don't use, or is that just, you deal with it and you lose that money? Or
they do get a credit for it. So it happens quite a bit within our flooring allowance. We have a great high end allowance for our engineered hardwoods. And most of the hardwoods that our clients pick is below what we have built into our base price. So they do get a credit back if they don't spend it, which is cool.
not many builders do that, and it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more irritating than knowing you're paying on a mortgage for something, like, even if you did the bare minimum and you're still going to have to put flooring in, like the cheap vinyl or whatever gets the job done because you had to install flooring, only to know that you're going to rip it out and put in what you want at the higher level, and then you're paying for it again because you're paying for your preferred flooring. Like, it is the way that it is, and I'm grateful that there is a product out there that meets that need in the market, but sometimes it feels like such a waste of resources because people are just going to turn around and tear it out. Versus if they just offered the credit from the beginning. Theoretically, it's easy to be a critic when you're not in the process, but that's neat that you guys offer that. So we have about 5 minutes left. Let's talk real quick about third-party inspections and is a realtor necessary in building, all of that good stuff, because I feel like that sometimes can be a hot button when working with people who are considering building a new home.
The price of our homes do not change whether you're working with a realtor or not. So you're not going to get dinged if you have a realtor. I highly encourage a client to have their own representation, but if they don't want to and they want to do it themselves, so be it. Everyone's able to make their own choice there. You can absolutely hire a third-party inspection if you'd like to. We have to pass some pretty rigorous inspections here with the town of Zionsville too. So you're welcome to add another one though, if you'd like to. We will address those issues that come up on those too, if there are any.
Yep. Megan, any thoughts?
No, I think she got it. I have cicadas behind me, so I'm trying to keep it quiet over here.
No, you're all good. Yeah, I think the more a client can have representation and make sure that their best interests are protected both throughout the building process, and then I think sometimes we as agents help buyers or clients be coached into asking questions maybe that they're afraid to ask or don't know to ask. And it can be a very emotional process. I think a lot of times we try to come into these conversations as smart as we can be or as equipped, and it's still emotional. I think you're going to be making memories, hopefully, where you're building a home. You're thinking about where you're going to plant the Christmas tree and how do you put cabinets in the right corner so you have the type of tree that you prefer, or there's a lot to think about, a lot of nuances. And so I always encourage clients to have representation if they are open to it, because again, as Kristen said, you're paying for it either way. The builder's not going to discount the price of the home. So I like to joke with people, if they don't work with a realtor, they're paying for services that they're not using, which nobody likes that. So
sure. And building really, it is a commitment, and there are a lot of decisions that need to be made along the way. So I think additionally to realtors, I think there's some homeowners who really love the details and really love picking out the finishes, and I think that's great. And then you have some people who can be overwhelmed with that, and I think a realtor can help in that process as well. And we actually also have a preferred design service that we work with, Sassy Green Interiors from Zionsville. So they're great, and they're a great interior designer, but they really, again, streamlining that process and helping people think through all those thoughtful different details. I think it's important.
Okay, well, 2 minutes and we are done officially. Last piece of advice, words of wisdom, tip for people. Kristen, what do you have to recommend?
Ooh. My advice would be, if you come out and you love our product, to get your lot reservation in, because they are flying off the shelf this week. That map looked a little different last week, and we have been selling them like hotcakes. And then also we've just had some, price changes like all builders do because of some things related to COVID, like lumber pricing has gone up. So when you do reserve a lot here, you lock in at the current pricing. So I think some people can sit on their hands a little bit because they haven't figured out every little detail. But if you like a lot, come put your money down for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's really great to see, even, you drive by, and some people may have driven by, a month or so ago, but really the neighborhood continues to grow and really continues to spring up. So it's really fun to see the growth over time and see how far it's really come along, and see, we have homeowners who have obviously are already living there. Then we have some homeowners who are moving in the next couple of months. And then we have homes that are currently under construction. So really, it's a growing neighborhood and it's really fun and dynamic to see. So come on by.
Yeah. So for anyone interested in scheduling a meeting with Megan and Kristen and myself, there's a Google form link that will be provided here in the post or the comments, wherever this video is posted. Please fill that out. We will reach out to you within 1 to 2 business days and get you connected with an appointment. And we'll walk you through that process of scheduling an interview to walk through the homes, or if you've already walked through the home, you know, move forward with a contract and design selections. It's always super fun, I think, when you get into the design process. And then obviously follow Inglenook and my page to stay up to date with the community and my resources that I post. But thank you so much, Kristen and Megan, for giving us your time and your words of wisdom and sharing with us this cute little community. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us. See ya.
My pleasure. Have a good night.